The most unexpectedly difficult part of the fast was definitely the amount of hunger I had.
The reason I will never do this challenge isn't just the amount of muscle I would lose, it's I don't want to suffer for an entire week straight. Coach Greg, and in today's video, what happens when you don't eat anything for 7 days? Well, the video is called, I didn't eat any food for 7 days. This is what happened to my body. We're gonna watch the video and experience the highs and lows that can be experienced when doing fasting. What are the benefits, the pros, the cons? How much muscle can you lose? How much fat? How much weight are you gonna lose? How hungry are you gonna be? What are the dangers? And so stay tuned and find out.
Recently, my buddy Abraham and I did a 7-day fast and tracked several dramatic changes to our body.
And so they did a lot. They tracked the quality of sleep, their mood, their weights, took CT scans to see how much body fat they lost and tracked their weight and saw how much muscle they're gonna lose and so on.
I wanted to do this fast because I had been quite stressed out at the time, so I was hoping to get some of the mental benefits from fasting I had been reading about. And Abraham was looking to get a jump start on his weight loss and fitness goals.
And so these two guys, they took on this challenge. One wanted to get the mental clarity of fasting. He wanted to see if it would improve his mood. And the other guy, he just wanted to jump start his weight loss. Sounds a lot like Mr. Beast. And listen, you don't need to fast for 7 days to get a jump start. My opinion, long and sustainable weight loss, slowly losing weight, the best policy. And so if you lose a lot of weight in the first week, you know a lot of it's going to be water, a lot of it is going to be muscle, and only a bit of it is going to actually be body fat.
We had an all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue for dinner on Friday. Abraham's last bit of food was Oreos and a sparkling water at 9 p.m. And I finished my ice creams at 9:30.
And so like most people, before starting their diet or their fast, they go and binge. They eat a bunch of junk because after all, they're not going to be eating any food for 7 days. That is not how you do it. You should be eating a normal diet, the normal way you eat, and then you just start the diet normal. You don't say, oh, let's go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and ram in as much calories as we can get, because for the next 7 days, we're not going to eat anything. It makes a lot more sense to go in a small calorie deficit. That way you're not hungry, you have plenty of energy, and you keep the muscle you built in the first place.
Okay, so I've been fasting about 20 hours. I feel pretty good, even though the first day is usually the hardest.
And so of course he felt pretty good. He ate a ton before starting the fast. And so you're not actually fasted until you burn off the carbs that you've consumed during your regular diet.
I was actually surprised at how easy the first day was, until I sat down to wait for a table at a Chinese restaurant with Abraham and our girlfriends. I was suddenly feeling really hungry, fatigued.
And so what is going on? Well, the body gets acclimated to being hungry during certain periods of time. When you normally eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, your body naturally gets hungry during breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so if you're fasting and you sit down for breakfast and watch other people eat, you're obviously going to get more hungry. And so my advice would be not to sit down for dinner, not to be around other people that are eating, because if you see the food, you're going to have to use willpower to not consume it. And if you're not fasting, how can you benefit from this information? Keep your food out of sight. If the food's sitting there on the table, the chocolates, the candies, the nuts, and you see it, every time you see it, it's going to trigger your brain to say, you should eat that. After all, your brain is looking out for your survival. Anytime it sees food, it's going to try to convince you to eat it. Hey, there's some ghrelin going on here. You probably want to eat. Even though you're not hungry, you've eaten plenty of food, you're probably still going to want the food.
The issue was more that I finally had some downtime. I stopped moving after doing my taxes, working, and walking around all day.
Another factor is during the day, most people find it easy to diet. They can stick to the plan, no problem. But at the end of the day, when you're relaxing, perhaps sitting at the couch watching TV, that is when 95% of diets fail. It's not in the morning, it's not in the afternoon, it's at night. And so please be careful. When your mind is occupied, you're at work, you're busy, you're not as hungry. But if you sit down at home at night, that is when your diet can derail itself. And so what you should do is have healthy foods that are low in calories. Things like fruits, vegetables, popcorn, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, protein ice cream, salads, things that are going to be filling that don't have a lot of calories. The worst thing you could do is start opening up the boxes of chips and cookies and crackers and ordering in.
Pretty exhausted, it's hitting me kind of hard. Trying to stay positive obviously, but it's like, I feel like my head He's a little like lightheaded.
And so this is how I feel when I've fasted in the past. I feel lightheaded, I don't have a lot of energy, I get brain fog. And so one of the things they suggest to do is to add electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. These things can in fact help you to get more energy. When you're not eating anything, your body is most likely going to be dehydrated, especially if you're doing cardio and you're sweating out all your electrolytes. And so without the food, the carbs to store the glycogen, you're going to be much more dehydrated and lower on electrolytes. And so my advice, if you are in fact fasting, don't forget to use an electrolyte supplement.
Today was pretty easy. The morning was easy, but then when noon rolled around, that's when things got hard because that's my usual eating time.
And so what I've noticed is throughout every single day, they're experiencing times when they have less energy and times when they have more energy. But to me, that is a normal part of everyday life. Even people who eat consistently, some parts of the day they're more tired and some they're more awake. Oftentimes people will add caffeine, other stimulants, perhaps fat burners, pre-workouts to give them that boost. They're more talkative, they have more energy, they can think more clearly. One thing I like to add when I don't have energy or I can't think as clearly, I add G-Focus. It has a little bit of caffeine, not much, but other things to help with mental clarity.
I experienced a huge drop in blood sugar late afternoon, which coincided with a big drop in how I was feeling.
And to me, that makes sense. Think of it. If you don't have a lot of carbs or energy, your mood is not going to be as good. If you have more energy, you're going to be in a better mood. And so because they're fasting and not consuming carbs, eventually the glycogen stores in their muscle and liver, it's going to go down to zero. And what the body does at that point is it produces ketones for energy. And so as your body runs out of carbs, the body starts producing ketones from fat, and this is what's giving you the energy. Your body is quite literally surviving on your fat stores. The problem is your body is also surviving on your muscle tissue. The body needs amino acids. And so what do you think is more important? That the body makes sure that the heart can keep beating, or that the biceps are 20 inches? And so the end result, the body takes protein from the biceps to use it to build the heart. You need amino acids, protein. It's one of the macronutrients that the body requires. Body does not require carbs. That's why you can in fact go on a ketogenic diet. That's one where you consume only fats and proteins. You don't need carbs. You need healthy fats and you do need protein. And so if you're on a fasting diet where you're eating nothing, you're not getting the essential amino acids that you need. And so my advice, it simply makes no sense to go on a 7-day fast. All the benefits that you're trying to get, the mental clarity, the burning of fat, the feeling better, the autophagy, you can still get that while training, doing cardio, and at least eating some amount of calories. Eat some protein, spread it out. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Eat some healthy fats, and if you want, eat a little bit of carbs. There's no benefit to eating nothing for 7 days than eating something. It's simply not better.
3rd day on the fast, woke up not hungry, not too hungry, but obviously if you put some food in front of me, I definitely would want to eat it.
And so it's day 3 and 4, and he's finally getting some mental clarity, some focus. And he's not always hungry, but quite often he's hungry, and if food were put in front of him, trust me, he'd want to eat. In my opinion, if you just want some focus, why don't you just take G-Focus? It seems simple. Eat a healthy, balanced diet, add in some G-Focus if you want to actually have better focus.
I wanted to do this fast because in March, I had been reading several studies talking about the various alleged mental benefits from fasting, like significant reductions in anxiety and depressive symptoms.
But what I don't understand is why not just do some exercise? And so one of the benefits of exercise, for example, doing cardio, is getting a healthy heart as well as to lose weight. But on top of that, it's improving your mental state. Cardio literally releases endorphins, feel-good hormones. You do the cardio and you will in fact feel better. Not just because you did the cardio, but because of the chemicals that are released as you do the cardio. And so it's not just about doing cardio to lose weight and getting a healthy heart. Those are, of course, amazing benefits, but it's also improvements in your mental state. When I'm feeling depressed, not having a good day, feeling stressed out, anxious, I can go and ride a bike, lift weights, and it immediately puts me in a better mood. You're not stressed out. You're in that moment, you're having fun, you're doing your exercise, and it makes you feel better. And so why not just add in cardio?
But by the end of the 3rd day, If anything, I was more anxious because I had a ton of work to do, and the fasting was just making me less productive.
Was it really working that well if you can hardly get through your day job and you don't have the clarity, the mental focus, the energy to put out what you're doing, or to have the same spirit, the mood, the positive mindset that you have? I don't see this as being beneficial at all.
He was nauseous and dizzy, which are very good reasons to stop fasting. So I suggested he should probably just throw in the towel.
Think of it. Nauseous, dizzy, and he quite literally tries to convince him to quit. You should probably stop. It's not the thing for you. But he says, nope, I'm going to push on. I'm going to get through this week. And after all, this is being filmed for YouTube. And so the pressure's on. You don't want to look like you quit, that you gave out, and so highly motivated to get through a 1 week fast. But you at home, are you just going to do this for a week just because? Or are you just going to eat healthy and perhaps do some exercise?
This is when I finally started to feel like I was experiencing benefits to mood. I often carry a lot of tension in my shoulders and neck, but on this day, as I was walking around, I noticed that tension was no longer there.
Or you could get a massage. You could do exercise. Like what you're going through in a week and trying to experience some benefits, you can experience some of these benefits every single day simply by eating healthy and doing cardio. I don't understand why people would submit themselves to this kind of torture for an entire week trying to get a few mental clarity benefits when in fact what's really happening is people are getting headaches, they're feeling weak, they're getting muscle cramps, they're not themselves, they're hangry. Don't get it.
I was feeling much more calm and content than usual. I went for a run after taking this video log, and while I felt pretty much normal, I didn't quite have my usual endurance.
How is this optimal? I'm all about living an optimal lifestyle, one that allows the most possible benefits. Fasting for a week, of course there's some benefits, there's some good things going on. For example, autophagy, that's where you clean out dead cells. But you also get the benefits of autophagy from doing hard exercise, like racing on a bike. And so, my opinion, racing bikes, lifting weights, eating a healthy diet, far superior than trying to do a 1 week fast.
As for me, this morning was pretty bad. I woke up really early, about an hour and a half earlier than usual. I was feeling pretty crap, kind of low blood pressure.
And so another thing that experience low blood pressure, that is 100% normal. When you're losing a lot of weight, not eating food, your blood pressure automatically going to go down. And so a lot of people blame sodium. If you have high blood pressure, it's all about the salt. What it's really about is retaining a lot of water. When you eat a lot of carbs, you store 3 grams of water for every 1 gram of carb. That is a lot of weight. If you're taking PDs, for example, you're going to store even more water. And so rather than thinking it's all about sodium, it's all about having a healthy, balanced diet. Don't overeat food. Don't have crazy cheat meals. Don't gain a lot of weight.
At this point, let me comment on hunger.
The almost unexpectedly difficult part of the fast was definitely the amount of hunger I had.
The reason I will never do this challenge isn't just the amount of muscle I would lose. It's I don't want to suffer for an entire week straight. After all, I've competed in 59 bodybuilding competitions. I've had to make weight for powerlifting where I've fasted, had to starve myself, and I hate the feeling of being hungry. That's why when I'm on a diet, it's all about being full, eating healthy, high volume, but low in calorie meals that have a lot of protein. That allows them to be anabolic to build muscle, and it doesn't feel like you're dieting. And so if you're trying to lose weight, rather than doing a 1 week fast, my suggestion, get my friggin' cookbook. The cookbook, it's where it's at. It is a game changer. It allows you to eat all your favorite meals, just have them made lower in calories. Why not eat the foods that you love? You can make your cake and eat it too. It's just lower in calories. But if your goal is to lose weight, stick to a diet that you can sustain for life. Can you go on 1 week fast for life? Of course not. And so much better to eat in a small calorie deficit, get to your weight, and then eat at maintenance. To maintain.
By the way, I did get my muscle mass checked, but the best thing I could find was the in-body device. And when my results said my body fat percentage was 6%, I knew these results were garbage.
And so I was absolutely shredded. I was close to 5% body fat, but the test said I was over 11. And in comparison, he's in at 6% body fat, and he knows he's not quite as lean as Chris Bumstead. And so clearly, this scale means nothing. It's a complete guess. You're quite literally better to look in the mirror yourself, watch a few of my Coach Greg videos where I give body fat percentages for my subscribers and to guesstimate based on how lean you look in comparison to people that I've given body fat percentages to. And so if you want to watch these videos on what body fat percentage you are, then simply watch some of my videos. Perhaps we can click links or do kinds of stuff. I don't know. Maybe you can click a link and you can go watch a video right now.
Unfortunately, I can't really say what happened to my muscle on this fast.
No, of course it's not accurate. And so Coach Greg appears, no, of course it's not accurate. And so he has absolutely no idea how much muscle he lost because the tests, they're simply not accurate. They're not accurate. And so we don't know. And so we can guess, we can speculate, but we simply don't know. And so how much fat did he actually lose after starving himself, not eating anything for 7 days? Well, his maintenance calories are 2,300. And so he didn't eat for 7 days. And so that equates to 16,000 calories. Now remember, when you suddenly cut out your food, your BMR and your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, it's going to go down. Your body is compensating for not eating calories. So even without the compensation, the most fat he could have lost is equal to 4.6 pounds. 16,000 calories, 3,500 calories in a pound of fat, it's 4.6 pounds. And so at the most, he probably lost 4.6 pounds, but I'm willing to bet his NEAT and BMR did in fact go down. He's losing muscle. He's not gonna burn as many calories because he doesn't have as much energy. And so probably he lost under 4 pounds of fat. And that's from starving himself for an entire week. And so out of the 13 pounds, 4 pounds is fat, and so the rest, 9 pounds, is water and or muscle. And so does that sound like a diet you'd want to go on? Oh, hey, I lost 13 pounds. That's amazing. Yeah, 4 of it was fat. 4 pounds of fat, the rest, 9 pounds, water and or muscle? Doesn't sound like the kind of weight loss that I want to be a part of. And you see the before and after, and you're thinking, yeah, he's lost some weight, but is it worth going through all that torture to lose 4 pounds of fat?
What was it like finally getting to eat after all that time? To be honest, it was a little anticlimactic.
And so what is it like to first eat again after 7 days? I mean, you gotta be thinking, this would be a surreal experience after not eating anything for 7 days. You're probably gonna eat everything and anything, a massive buffet, and just be like, wow, that is the best thing I've ever done. But it's not, it's actually anticlimactic. Only ate 500 calories and was full. But think of it, if you haven't eaten anything for 2 weeks, your stomach is going to shrink, and so you can't eat as much. And so although the food tasted good, you didn't have that much interest and was actually quite full a lot sooner. And so if you do take part in this, remember, it's important to not binge at the end of it, to slowly get back into eating, and to then eat at a maintenance level of calories or in a slight deficit. Remember to get in your protein. Try to eat 3 to 5 times a day for optimal muscle protein synthesis. And try to use this as a way to stay disciplined on point. The worst thing you could do is to say, hey, I didn't eat for a week. I'm just eating cake and ice cream to make up for it. That would be a huge mistake.
The next day was similar. I would eat and my body would quickly tell me I was full on a small amount of calories, but I kept eating until I hit my usual 2,300 calories or so because eating is fun and I could finally eat.
And so rather than having to starve yourself and not eat for an entire week, I think anyone that has that kind of discipline, that has that kind of mental fortitude to be able to do that, I think you could quite easily perhaps go on a 500 calorie deficit. You could just eat healthy. After all, what's harder? To go from eating 2,300 calories a day to 1,800 and eating the foods that you love and being full all the time. I don't get it. You don't have to starve yourself for a week, eat nothing, and then go on a diet after that. You can simply go on the diet, make it simple, normal, 1,800 calories a day. This guy's eating 2,300. That's 500 calories. That would be 1 pound of fat a week. And so in a month, he'd lose the same amount of fat as he lost here without losing any muscle tissue.
We went and got our CT scan results. Now, this test isn't measuring overall body fat percentage, but it's measuring the area of fat in a midsection slice.
And so interestingly, they got a CT scan to see how much fat they lost at the stomach area. And one guy was over 20% of the fat in his stomach was lost. Not 20% body fat, but 20% of the fat in his stomach. But the other guy, only 7%. And what does that tell me? Well, it tells me that all people lose fat in different areas. And so although one lost far more fat in the stomach versus the other, he may have lost a lot more fat in the legs, arms, chest. And so depending on who you are, male, female, or where you store your body fat, when you go on a calorie deficit, your body automatically is going to lose more fat in some areas than others. If you're lucky, perhaps you lose all the fat in your stomach and you keep all the fat in the glutes. If you're unlucky, you lose your ass, you keep the big belly, and there's simply nothing you can do about it other than to continue to lose weight, because eventually the fat is going to go from everywhere. You can't go on a calorie deficit forever and not get ripped everywhere. And if you stick to a diet, eventually the weight is going to come off. Not saying you should diet to single-digit body fat. And so for most men, I always tell them 15% body fat is probably as healthy as you can get. No reason to keep dropping any lower unless it's for aesthetics and you feel normal and healthy. Then of course you can keep losing weight. And for women, it's about 9% more than that. And so close to 25% body fat. And so those are, in my opinion, great goals for most people. Women, 25% body fat, males 15. Anything lower than that, perhaps for gifted athletes, Olympic athletes, if you're trying to be the best possible athlete, you would perhaps benefit from being leaner, but you don't have to just to look good and feel good. And so hopefully you learned from the video. If you want to give fasting a try, I do believe that their point of using electrolytes makes sense, to have sodium, for example. And just don't think that this is easy. It is hard. You're going to have periods of lows and highs. Some parts of the day you'll feel better than others. But to me, that's just like any day. You want to lose weight, you can get my freaking cookbook. You want better mental clarity, get G-Focus, better endurance, GO2 Max, try to build muscle, creatine, and Turk Builder. Hope you learned something. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching, Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro. Please check out the bloops. Of course, subscribe and click that bell button right now. Click it now. And until next time, I am out.